Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the Summerween reading vlog. So, Summerween was a week-long readathon hosted by Gabby Reads and Olivia Reads a Latte, and it was basically to read scary, creepy horror books during summer. And since I'm a horror fan, I just thought this was the perfect readathon for me. And so for this readathon, I read 4 books, and they were The Ballad of Black Tom, Kill Creek, Clown in the Cornfields, and Night of the Mannequins. And this vlog is mostly spoiler-free, and there's only one tiny section where I talk about spoilers for Kill Creek, but there's a spoiler warning on screen, so if you want to skip the spoilers, just skip that part. And yeah, let's get into the reading footage.
Hey, so it's day 1 of Summerween. I mean, it's like 3:14 a.m., so technically it's day 2. And I'm filming in the kitchen because this is where we have the best lighting, I feel like. And also my parents are sleeping, so I don't really want to be making a lot of noise in the bedroom area. But yeah, one of the prompts for Summerween is to read a book in the dark. So I'm gonna go to bed now, and I haven't started reading yet because I had a lot of work to get done today, and I did not have time at all. But yeah, since one of the prompts is to read a book in the dark anyway, I'm just gonna start listening to the audiobook of The Ballad of Black Tom when I go to bed. And what do I know about this book? Not much, but it's a novella, and I think it's 3 hours long. And yeah, I listen to the audiobook usually at 2.5 times speed, so I'm gonna take just a little over an hour to get through it. And I mean, it's 3:15, so I don't think I'm gonna listen to all of it today, but I want to get a good chunk into it, and I'm just gonna read the synopsis off of Goodreads. People move to New York looking for magic, and nothing will convince them it isn't there. Charles Thomas Tester hustles to put food on the table, keep the roof over his father's head, from Harlem to Flushing Meadows to Red Hook. He knows what magic a suit can cast, the invisibility a guitar case can provide, and the curse written on his skin that attracts the eye of the wealthy white folks and their crops. But when he delivers an occult tome to a reclusive sorceress in the heart of Queens, Tom opens the door to a deeper realm of magic and earns the attention of things best left sleeping. A storm that might swallow the world is building in Brooklyn. Will Black Tom live to see it break? Hello, so it is officially day 2 of Summerween, and last night I got to 52% of The Ballad of Black Tom. And basically we saw him delivering a book to the sorceress that was talked about in the synopsis, but it didn't really do the job right. The book wasn't intact, let's just say like that. So yeah, that can't be good. And also, he was approached by a man who said that he wanted him to play and sing at his party, and so he went to his house, and that guy was able to open, in the synopsis it said that he opened a portal to another realm of magic or something like that. So yeah, that other guy did that. And I got to the end of part 1, and that part of the book when you know that the following part of the book is gonna be insane. That was it, because the end of part 1 was pretty crazy, and I wanted to keep listening to it, but I was just very tired, and it was 4 a.m. and I had to sleep. But I am really looking forward to finish it tonight in the dark. But for now, I'm going to read Kill Creek. And if my reading plans don't succeed, this book can actually work for all the prompts. So yeah, if things go wrong, I'll just read this book. And I'm just going to read what it says in the back. At the end of a dark prairie road, nearly forgotten in the Kansas countryside, is the Finch house. For years, it has remained empty, overgrown, abandoned. Soon the door will be opened for the first time in decades. But something is waiting, lurking in the shadows, anxious to meet its new guests. When best-selling horror author Sam McGarver is invited to spend Halloween night in one of the world's most infamous haunted houses, he reluctantly agrees. At least he won't be alone.
Joining him are three other masters of the macabre, writers who have helped shape modern horror. But what begins as a simple publicity stunt will become a fight for survival. The entity they have awakened will follow them, torment them, threatening to make them a part of the bloody legacy of Kill Creek. And then it says on this black section here, it was supposed to be a simple publicity stunt. Four famous horror authors spending the night in one of the world's most notorious haunted houses. And I love stories about haunted houses. I love paranormal stuff. I even videos. I love to watch ghost hunters and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very excited to get into this. Last night I finished The Ballad of Black Tom, and last time I updated I said that I had finished part 1 and you could tell that something intense was about to happen. And it did happen, but we didn't see it because part 2 was from someone else's POV. And I just didn't find that person as interesting to follow, so yeah, I didn't love that. But when Tom came back, it was intense and it was very interesting, and I loved that part. I loved following Tom in part 1 and then again when he came back. But the whole other POV I didn't really care about, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna rate it because I really liked one part of it and I didn't really care much about the other. So yeah, I'm still gonna decide. And I did not start reading Kill Creek because I got distracted writing instead. And while my friends who read the stuff I write probably appreciated that, now I have less time to read, so yeah, my reading might not go according to plan. But I will start reading it today. I will. No matter what, I'm gonna start reading Kill Creek today. It's day 3! And I have makeup on because I was filming some stuff. But last night I got to page 200 of Kill Creek, which means I read part 1 and 2. And I am loving it. So basically we start following Sam, who is a writer, and he's suffering from writer's block. He gets an invitation for an interview. And then we meet another author, T.C. Moore, and she's also invited for the same interview. And on the day of the interview, they both get the same place, and neither of them knew that they weren't going to be interviewed by themselves. They thought that it was just going to be them and whoever was going to interview them, but no. And it's also not only the two of them. There are 4 authors there, and it's Sam, Moore, Sebastian, and David. I think I suck with names, but I think that's it. It wasn't it, and I do suck with names, because the man was called Daniel, not David. So I'm just gonna record myself saying Daniel every time I say the guy's name wrong. And so basically they talk to the guy that's gonna interview them, and they decide that they are gonna go to the interview, which is gonna be at the haunted house in Kill Creek. And it's gonna be 2 days. They're gonna spend Halloween there. And despite all of them being horror authors, they're very different people, obviously. And it's just very interesting to see them interact. And we also know that both Sam and Moore have some secrets from their past. And while they're at the house, strange things happen to all of them. And during the night, they all have visions, except for Daniel. And I was wondering, like, why isn't he having visions? Like, what's gonna happen to him? But at the end of part two, something a lot worse than visions actually happened to Daniel. And also at the end of part two, like they have left the house. I mean, they were leaving the house. So, and like part three says spring. So, I mean, they're not gonna be at the house anymore. So I'm wondering how it's gonna be connected. Like, are they gonna be haunted by the ghost of the house? Or is like, or are they gonna be like haunted by something else? Or like, I don't know, because at the end of part two, it said it was a ghost story, all of it. So I mean, they're gonna be haunted for sure. I just don't know by who or by what. But I am definitely interested to find out. And this book is just so beautifully written and like beautiful in a horrific, creepy, disgusting way. But yeah, like I love the descriptions of like the creepy and disgusting things. Like I read the most disgusting description of someone eating ever. At first, I didn't even know like it was about someone eating. I was just like, what the hell? And yeah. The blade sliced downward, easily exposing the wet red flesh beneath. The man's thick tongue licked his lips anxiously as he slipped the bit of meat between his crooked teeth. Clear juices ran down to the edge of his chin. Like, that just sounds gross. And also there was like the description of a dead body that I sent actually like a photo to my friend, and she was like, lovely image. I was like, right? And like my friend hates horror, so sorry about that. The body had changed. It was a heavy-set woman in her late 30s, or it had been. She was charred black, her skin peeling away like bark from a rotting tree. What little hair was left looked as if it had melted into the scalp, like the cratered surface of a moon. Heat had caused her eyes to explode in their sockets, and the shiny, jelly-like substance streaked down her cheeks like grotesque tears. The weight of her body caused her neck to stretch against the rope to the point that he was sure her head would rip clean off. All the descriptions in this book are just so creepy, and it's so atmospheric, and I am loving it. Like, I love the story, but I also really like the writing. I like how immersive and creepy it is, and yeah, I'm very excited to keep reading. Hello, it's Wednesday, which is day 5. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, day 6 of Summerween. And last night I finished reading Kill Creek, and oh my god, this book was amazing. I think last I updated, I was like halfway through the book, and I was going into part 3, I think, and I was like, they're at the house, I don't know, like, how they're gonna be haunted, but I mean, I'm assuming they are gonna be haunted, and boy, were they haunted. They all were haunted, like, in a different way, but at the same time in a similar way, and I know that probably doesn't make any sense if you don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, it was intense, and like the fights and like gory scenes were just so well written and well described, and I was just thriving. And I'm just gonna go into spoilers here, so if you don't want any spoilers, just skip to the point where there's no spoiler warning on the screen. But basically, they were all haunted with visions from their past, like people who are dead or not part of their lives anymore. That was like the way they were haunted in a different way, but they were also haunted like in the same way, in the sense that they all felt compelled to write a book about the house on Kill Creek. And like the story was the same for all of them. I mean, the characters were like slightly different, and the writing style was obviously different because they're different people and they have different styles of writing. But like the story itself was mainly the same, and they all stopped at the same point. And that point was when they got to a brick wall, and like they took the first brick off. Because at the house there was a room that was like bricked off, and they were very curious about it, like why would someone do that? So in their own stories they stopped there because they didn't know what was behind it, except for one. Sebastian actually wrote it, and in his story the characters could never defeat the evil of the house. And then we find out that basically the sole purpose of the haunting of this house is that it wants to be remembered, it wants to be known. So that's why they all felt compelled to write a story, and once Sebastian had actually finished the story, the house had no longer any use for the others. So, I mean, I think that's really interesting. And at some point, they all got back to the house, and there was a lot of fighting, and the ending. Oh my god. Like, I was hoping it would end like that, but as I was getting like closer to it, I thought that it wasn't going to, but it did. And I loved it. I loved every single second of reading this book. It was so creepy and scary and gory and everything I love. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna give it 5 stars. Oh, also, like one of the prompts is to bake or make some kind of drink. And I did bake a chocolate cake, but I didn't film it because when I got to the kitchen, my mom was already like halfway through the process. So I didn't film that. But I also drink coffee like every waking hour. So there's that. And also, yesterday I got this book in the mail. And Mexican Gothic is a horror book. So it would be great if I could read it for Summerween, but I highly, highly doubt that I will. And I guess I could switch Cloud in a Cornfield for this book because it would fit the prompt. But I also really want to read that book, so I think I'm gonna have to leave this for another time. And especially because I'm going to the other house today, because this is the last week I'm gonna be in the house, and my roommate would kill me if I didn't go there. So yeah, I'll be going there like in a couple hours. So I'll have even less time to read. But I am definitely planning on starting to read Cloud in a Cornfield today.
Hello, it's Thursday, and like I thought, yesterday was not the most productive reading day because like I got to this house and I basically just hung out with my roommate. So yeah, like I started listening to the audiobook of Cloud in a Cornfield at 2:30 a.m. So yeah, and this morning I listened to a bit more and I'm now on 56%. And before I talk about it, I'm gonna read the synopsis like I usually do because I haven't done that yet. And here we go. Queen Maybrook just wants to make it until graduation. She might not make it to morning. Queen and her father moved to tiny, boring Kettle Springs to find a fresh start. But ever since the Baypen corn syrup factory shut down, Kettle Springs has cracked in half. On one side are the adults who are desperate to make Kettle Springs great again. And on the other are the kids who want to have fun, make prank videos, and get out of Kettle Springs as quick as they can. Kettle Springs is caught in a battle between old and new, tradition and progress, in a fight that looks like it will destroy the town. Until Frendo, the Baypen mascot, a creepy clown in a pork pie hat, goes homicidal and decides that the only way for Kettle Springs to grow back is to cull the rotten crop of kids who live there now. And like the book starts with a prologue, and there were a bunch of people, and I didn't memorize anyone's names because I suck with names. But yeah, there was a prologue, and then
like it says in the synopsis, Quinn and their father move to Kettle Springs. And we follow Quinn as she goes to high school and meets new people there, and it's like pretty chaotic from the beginning. And also the separation, like in the town, between the kids and the adults is pretty clear from the beginning. And not long after she gets to Kettle Springs, there's a party. And Frendo shows up to the party. And yeah, he starts murdering people. And there was one specific murder scene that was just so well written. Like, I loved it. Like, it was really, really good. And like, I am enjoying it, but not as much as Kill Creek, because Kill Creek was amazing. But I am definitely enjoying it, and I'm gonna try to finish it tonight so I can read The Night of the Mannequins tomorrow, and then I'll have my goal of 4 books read. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to it. It's Friday, and that means it's the last day of Summerween. And last night I did finish Clouding the Cornfield. And since I last updated, like, we kept following the kids as they were being attacked by Frendo. And I can't really like go into any details without spoiling everything, but let's just say that I wasn't expecting Frendo's identity and also Frendo's motives. Like, it was a lot worse than what I had in mind, because I thought it was just like some random psycho just murdering the kids to make the town better, like, just, you know, randomly. But it wasn't. So yeah, and I did enjoy like the murder scenes. I always feel like a psychopath saying that I enjoy murder scenes, but I do, and I did. I thought they were really good. I thought like the descriptions of like the violence and gore, I guess, were pretty good as well, and I really did enjoy it. And it's hard to talk about this book because if I want to get into literally any details of what was happening, I'm gonna spoil everything, so I'm not going to. I'm just gonna say that I really did enjoy the action scenes, the murder scenes, and yeah, I was definitely surprised with who Frendo was and the motives. And yeah, I really enjoyed the book. I didn't enjoy it as much as Kill Creek. Like I said before, like, Kill Creek was perfection. And yeah, but I really did enjoy it, and I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. And today I'm gonna start listening to the Night of the Mannequins audiobook, and I think it's around 3 hours, so it shouldn't take too long. And I'm gonna read the synopsis, although it doesn't say much. It just says, Stephen Graham Jones returns with Night of the Mannequins, a contemporary horror story where a teen prank goes very wrong and all hell breaks loose. Is there a supernatural cause, a psychopath on the loose, or both? Like, that's it. But according to the reviews, it's like really creepy, so I'm excited for that. Because, like, who doesn't love creepy mannequins? So I finished reading Night of the Mannequins, but it's actually Saturday now, because after I finished listening to the audiobook, I basically just had dinner with my roommates and we watched YouTube, and then it was like too late and the lighting would be awful, so I'm here now. And I don't really know what to say about this book, because first, it's really short, and if I get into any details, I'll spoil the whole thing, so I can't get into the story. And also, it was not what I expected. Like, it was scary, but in a completely different way than I expected from reading the synopsis. And also, I liked it. I enjoyed the way in which it was scary, but I was expecting something different, I guess. And although what happened is actually scarier, I guess, if you think about it in a real life perspective, like what happened is definitely scarier, but what I was imagining was creepier in my mind. So I don't really know what to say about this book, and I'm gonna leave the problem of having to give this book a rating for future Irish. So for the prompt to read a book in the dark, I read The Ballad of Black Tom, and I really like the part where Tom was the main character, which was like the first part of the book, and I didn't really care for the other POV, that was the second half of the book. So I was just a little torn about what to rate it, but since I really didn't care about the second part of the book, I mean, I liked the ending because Tom was back, but I didn't like the whole other part, so I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. For the prompt to read a paranormal book, I read Kill Creek, and I loved everything about this book. I loved the setting because I love haunted houses. I loved the characters. Not that they were like perfect in any way, shape, or form, but I loved following them because they were very interesting characters. I loved their interactions. I loved the way it was written. Like I said this in the blog, like it was beautifully written in a horrific, disgusting kind of way, but that's just the perfect way for horror to be written. So yeah, I loved everything about this book, and I gave it 5 stars. For the prompt to read a horror novel, I read Clown in a Cornfield, and I really enjoyed it as well, but like after Kill Creek, it just wasn't as great in my opinion, but I still really enjoyed the creepy aspect of it, and also like the fact that it could happen in real life makes it scarier in a way. And I enjoyed the way in which like the murder scenes were written. Like I definitely felt anxious for those characters. Like it was scary. I really enjoyed it, but just not as much as Kill Creek, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. And lastly, for the prompt to read a book with black or orange in the cover, I read Night of the Mannequins. And I liked it, and it was scary, but just not in the way that I expected. Like, from the synopsis, I was expecting something completely different. From the synopsis and from the beginning of the book. It was a plot twist, but it wasn't a plot twist that I enjoyed a lot. But it was creepy, and it was scary, but I just didn't love it. So I ended up giving it 3 stars. So this is everything for the Summerween reading vlog, and I have to say that I loved Summerween because I love every excuse to read horror books, so this was a lot of fun. And well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!